We have an amazing episode lined up today because we did a little homework for you guys. But before we get into the nitty gritty, Anthony, please introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? Anthony Angelillo, branch manager of Paramount Residential Mortgage Group over here in Miami Shores, sunshine state of Florida. Wow. Too much coffee for me. CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation, and co-host of Damage Control that just was official. We just launched our company. Very proud to say, Melinda and myself, we've got some big things for all of you, and we're going to be launching that tonight and into tomorrow. So good news for everyone. We've got some badass stuff happening. So very proud to announce that, and top originator of the year of 2020. And we're going to make sure that we're top originator of the year for 2021. We've got a great team and looking forward to this show, man. It's going to be a good show.
It's going to be an amazing show. It's all about CRMs and getting you guys up and running with your CRMs. So before we get into the nitty gritty, Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney, awarded real estate attorney rising star. I never talk about it, but since Anthony's listing his awards, why not list one of mine? But also Damage Control is being awarded. Anthony and I are being awarded Podcast of the Year from the Miami Board of Realtors. So we're super excited about that. That will be, be hearing about that in a little bit, but we were super happy about that. We'll be at the YPN event, doing a mastermind with them this evening, and a part of all that with Damage Control. So we're super excited. We celebrated last weekend our 1-year anniversary of the show.
That was good, so
that's
man.
Super cool. That was fun. We just kept it super small, obviously, because COVID and all that, wonderful stuff that we have to deal with. But we will hopefully be doing something larger
next year.
Sometime soon, next year. We'll figure it out. In any event, let's get to the nitty gritty. About the show. So what number are we today, Anthony?
This is number 40, episode 40. And it, let me just say, it seems like it's episode 400, man, because we got a lot of stuff that we do, and not in a bad way. It's just that we're constantly going and we're consistently building. And, it takes time, man. It takes time to do all this stuff. It's not just fly by night. We're going to set it up. And that's what I wanted to also go into with the CRMs. I think everyone thinks in their mind, sometimes they think this way, that you can just plug and play and it's all set and everything's going to work perfectly for you. And we're going to make millions of dollars. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing that. And there wouldn't be multiple CRMs that are selling their services.
Yeah.
So,
but the reality, a CRM stands for
Customer relation
management, client relation. It's also could be a client relation, customer, client, whatever, however you call them, right? But at the end of the day, it's to keep track of your clients during the sales cycle and afterwards, right? So before, during, and after you're actively working with them as a client. So, and it's important during the different stages, right? So in the sales cycle, you're going to use the CRM to keep track and not forget to follow up and send, the routine things that you need to be sending to keep touching them. So, there's different levels of the sales cycle depending on how hot of a lead they are, right? So they may be someone in your sphere that needs to be reminded. They may be a referral source that needs to be reminded every once in a while of what you do, right? You need all those touches throughout the year. They may be someone who needs a home right now. They may be someone who needs a home next year. They may be someone who not sure when they're going to be doing it, but you want to keep reminding them. And then there's different ways to handle each type of contact lead relationship, right?
Yeah.
So by having these contacts within a system, every system we'll talk about, and there's more out there, they help you manage the relationship, because at the end of the day, there should be a lot of them in there, right? Eventually the goal is to build your pipeline, build your contact list, build your mailing list, right? So you can't keep all that in your head. I know I certainly can't keep all that in my head. And I have a, a pretty big team now, and I'm pretty organized. And I cannot, if I don't write stuff down, if I don't have a system reminding me what to do, it just becomes, it gets lost. It gets lost in the shuffle. And the busier you get, the more important the system is to keep growing your business and to maintain what you're already doing.
Yeah.
So we won't, there's a portion of this, of the CRM that you could probably use to create your systems while they are in fact your client. For example, sending them informational content during the process, maybe having a workflow checklist, but we're not going to get into while they're your client today. We're going to talk about the CRM as like a sales system process, and also before they become your client, and then also after, because there's the referral setup, then they could become a client again another time, right? Think about putting a tenant in. If you just put in all the tenants that you've ever had in that system, if you ever did leasing, then those are all potential buyers one day, right? So let's get started. And really, in terms of launching a system, the first thing you got to do is choose your system, right? So if you are a subscriber to the show, you will get like a chart resource checklist where we compared and contrasted. I believe it's 6 of the main. Let me look at it really quick.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
Let me show. I'll
no,
show
we're not
you.
sharing the screen, Anthony. They'll see it later. I know you want to show them now,
I'm dying to show
see
them.
it later so we can focus on the conversation. We are reviewing 6 different CRMs. So you want to list them out for them?
Yeah, Follow Up Boss, Lion Desk, Boomtown, Commissions Inc., HubSpot, and FirePoint.
Excellent. So these are the most common discussed, asked about, and relevant in the real estate industry. There's probably more, but we picked these because we felt they were the most relevant. So when reviewing a CRM platform and like deciding what you want to look at, you're going to have to decide a few things, right? So the price, the features, like how you can grow within it, and then functionality and like how it integrates with other systems that you're already using, right? Because what we don't want to do is be checking like 5 different places. So it's beautiful to be able to go one place for everything. Now, don't forget, some of these are more built out than others, right? But then some of these give you more flexibility than others. So Anthony, Anthony is a big firm believer of HubSpot. So I want to start there just because that's what he uses. That's what I'm trying to use. I'm working on that myself. I use something else right now that's none of these things here. But I want to convert my firm and all my companies to start using HubSpot so that it's really, I guess the idea of HubSpot, it's the hub where everything goes, right? And it integrates and it's very customizable, but it takes a lot of time and energy. So I want to talk about it and almost put it to the side because most of you probably will not use HubSpot. So Anthony, why don't you elaborate on that a little bit?
All right. So let me tell you a story and I'll make it very quick because I know we have a show to attend. Last night, okay, is a proof of concept of what happened. And a client of mine, Clinton Williams, if he's watching, big shout out to you, sent me a lead. Now you can set up a funnel, which would be an intake form. And those of you that don't know how to do that, then your CRM should have some sort of capability to allow that lead to come in. So that way you prioritize that lead and you're indexing that lead so it's top of mind, right? Well, in this case, I'm walking my dog. He sends me a lead and I'm like, all right, what do I do now? I've got a lead here and I can't call them. But I know if I don't reach out to them, they might get called possibly or might be going online Zillow or who knows, even though that's a hot lead and referred by my one of my top agents. It's just the principle, right? It's going to trigger me and I'm not going to be able to sleep because I want to get to that lead. The point I'm trying to make here is that without a CRM, you can't do anything, okay? We built out a consultation funnel through HubSpot, and not to get too tech here, but I press a button, an email goes out, the client received the email, text me back and said to me, I set up the consultation for 11 a.m. for Valerie, who's probably taking that consultation right now. Okay, it was 11:15. What did I do? Walking my dog, chilling, hanging out, press one button, email goes out to that client, and my night's over. Okay, so that now it's organized, it's in our system. We can follow up with that system. But the point I'm trying to make is that without a CRM, you can't do any of that. The old school way, if you're doing this, you'd probably either text the person, you might do a video chat, or you possibly would send them a video. You would have your notebook, exactly. I still use these, by the way, but then I trash them because I keep a little bit old school too, man. But at the end of the day, when you look at that, I think it was like 8:30. No one's going to talk to anyone at 8:30. He doesn't want to be bothered at 8:30. You could do the text game, but you're not closing anyone on text messages. You're only engaging them. It's dinosaur crap, man. You want to stay away from that. You need to think like a client, and a consumer doesn't want to text anyone at 8:30. They might be with their family. They might be having a late dinner. They might be, on a date night. Who knows, man? So the point I'm trying to make is that without that CRM, you can't organize yourself, period. Right? So what CRM would be the best for you? That's something that you need to sit down. We've talked about this many times on DC. You need to analyze what is good for you. I'm going to use me as an example. What was good for me is when I worked at multiple companies until I found a home at Pure MG, because they let me do everything that I want to do. That's why I love this company. But at the end of the day, I had other companies that I couldn't touch marketing material. You can't do this per, legal, and you can't do that. All I wanted to do was simply brand myself. I didn't even care about talking about rates and programs or anything like that. So I get the federal, legality of all the content that is published, but I wanted control over what I'm going to market. I didn't want a marketing team to do that for me because I knew that I could probably do it better than the marketing team.
Yeah.
So for me, all right, and I don't know if this is you as an agent, if you're at a brokerage or you're at a brokerage that doesn't allow you to do that, the other thing that boggled my mind was it's my data. I want to keep my data. It's my clientele. What if I leave? What if I jump ship? What if I go somewhere? God forbid something happens, margin compression, and Amazon's the next mortgage company. I want to be able to plug and play. That data is priceless. That data is your data that you as an agent have cultivated throughout the course of your career, the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys were out there making the referral connection. So it's important. If you don't have that capability, that control aspect, you need to talk to your brokerage and see if you have that, or you need to start adapting on something on your own. And that's something that I talk about because Melinda and I are a firm believer in, clean data in, clean data out. We want to make sure our data is, good. We look at all the analytics for DC in the show. We see who's watching Zoom, who's on, who's leaving, who's, skipping the meetings. We look at that because that's going to allow us to really capture our audience and make sure that we're pushing out proper content. Now, that's way too techy. Let's go down to the.
It's not really that techy. And I want to pause before you move on because there's a few things you touched on that are super important. A lot of brokers offer you a CRM. You need to ask the right questions up front. Because great, if you have the perk of having a paid CRM for you, that's awesome. What happens if you leave? What happens to your data? What happens to your account? Are you spending all this? Because the reality is the market's changing, people move around. There's different reasons why, personality, companies, mergers, whatever. What's going to happen to your data and what's going to happen to your systems and everything, all the time you spent within that broker CRM? Do they have the rights to your contacts if you leave?
Dude, that and I'm sure, look, I know that KW launch command, badass system. Google backed it up. Come on, it's nuts. But and they can import export their stuff. So I know that. But at the same time, okay, it's about the content and really what you're branding and who you are and what you want to stand for and just the control aspect of it. There's that whole mechanism, that one button. I set that up, and that took some time to set up. Don't get me wrong, but I set up my own content. I set up the email that went out. I set up the text message that went out. Now, I know a lot of agents use Follow Up Boss. It's cheap, it's good, it's awesome. The one thing I disliked about Follow Up Boss, and we'll go into all that in a few, is I couldn't control the stock imaging. It was not allowing me to go on to Canva okay, and physically make my own marketing content and then publish that. It gives you stock images. So, all right, well, what if I want something about our DC Market and Madness coming up? That's going to be awesome. So we had to create all content that's relevant about Market and Madness, March Madness, right? That wouldn't have allowed me to do that. I can't do that. It's stock, it's there, it's already embedded. So for me, that's another control aspect. I want to know, my mind's working on a different level. I want to do something fun with March Madness. I want this brain over here, Melinda, who's, you know, juicy with golden nuggets. We need to collaborate to see, you know, what we want to use and then talk about it and say, all right, let's publish that. I see someone that's on here, Natalie, she's got great content that she's publishing out. So that's, you know, that's something that you really need to digest as an agent and then say, all right, what's good for me? Not the brokerage, you as the individual. What's the CRM? Now, the one thing that I wish I did, and I'm not regretting anything, is I know Noel's on here too. We've worked at past companies too. Now he's part of the tag team. We didn't control our data. We had so much good data. We had agents that worked with us. Loan officers that worked with us. And that was like 10 years of data. So, you know what I mean? Like if I did it sooner, where would I have been? You got to start. You just got to start right now and launch it and start organizing your data. And we'll get into that.
Yeah. So review the terms, conditions, and accessibility of your content and contacts with your broker's CRM. Not saying to disregard it, but understand that a lot of these systems, once your stuff's in there, you don't own it anymore. Basically, it's owned by the company, the corporation. So understand that of what you're getting yourself into, and maybe to get started, it works for you because it's the easiest route for you. But just remember that. And another thing we talked about owning is try not to use the brokerage email of your company. Because if you leave, then that email doesn't exist anymore, right? Like Melinda at Compass is not going to be Melinda at Compass if I leave Compass, right? So you want to have your own email domain that is linked to your CRM so that you have all that set up. That's my little plug there to be able to control your contacts, your sphere, your connections. Because in 5 years from now, if you're no longer there, but they had the KW or the Compass email, that's just a business decision. But I think a good one, you know, if you are trying to grow in the real estate industry and want to maintain control. All right. So I digress from that from what Anthony was talking about, because I think it's a super important thing to remember. Now, moving back to selecting the CRMs. So you could look at what your broker has. There's so many other things we're giving you. There's so many other options. But you're going to have 6 different options to look at that we see are the most common in the real estate space.
Without a doubt.
And there's other ones too.
I've had them all. I've had every single one of them I've had. So
okay.
I'm your proof of concept, and I've done it all. I've been there, done that, spent tons of money on all of these CRMs because I thought I wanted that. Right, it's done, it's set up. Okay, now I can launch. Bullshit. I was lying to myself. That is.
Yeah, but that's you, right, Anthony? Not everyone's going to be like that. Right? Let's be realistic. I am trying really hard. And even with like a marketing team, I still haven't launched my HubSpot. So, and it's been like a year of like half-assed trying to do it. So that's something that I got to work on. But the reality is, you know, and I have like people helping me set it up. So I would say the average agent is not built to have a HubSpot account, but we talk about it all the time. So we want to like explain that to you guys. Anthony talks about it all the time. So we want to put it as a comparison tool, because HubSpot is really a blank canvas and you really have to build it out. And that's the pro and the con of that program, right? So when talking about pros and cons, I would think that's the most important thing to remember is like, when looking at stuff is like, how much time do you have to spend? How much help do you have? How savvy are you in being able to sync things and do things like that? Because if that's not really for you, you want to go with something that has the stock images, that has it already ready for you, that has some built out default content for you, because you're never going to do it, at least not in this stage in the game.
Correct.
Right?
Well, I mean, never say never. You never know.
In this stage of the game, like everyone has to understand there's seasons for your business.
Yeah.
And you have to understand what season you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
If you're in the season where you don't have time to even like, make your calls or post on social media, you're probably not going to build out a custom CRM platform, because you're not there yet, right? You got to build out your systems, your team, maybe have some more flexibility, have a little bit of scratch to pay someone to help you, right? So that's just reality of life. See, someone even said, I just learned that the hard way about putting your contacts in your broker CRM. So that's a good little thing there to think about. Now, we're scrolling back. I really want you guys to think, do I want to build something from scratch or have things ready for me? That's the first question you have to ask yourself when comparing.
Everyone in the comments, comment, I'm curious, like, would you rather have it ready or would you rather build it yourself? I'm very curious.
Super important.
Very
and then
curious.
In addition to that question, you also, see, like, I get you. I know people are going to want to have it ready because I kind of want to have it ready. Like, I don't want to do it myself. Someone says, I want a blend of both. So a blend of both is having a little bit of control, a little bit of customization, right? So that's what you have to look at and say, okay, what do you want? And like, where do you want the flexibility? So you can compare and contrast different models. And then another thing you have to think about is what other tools are you using on the day-to-day and where are those integrations? You don't want to get into something. I did this, guys. I've been in business now 12 years. I've had I don't know how many systems throughout the years. I'm finally feeling settled in what I'm doing now. But previously, just with CRMs and case management or file management, we went through so many different systems and setups. And I'm like, oh, but this one has this and this one has this. And like, why didn't I just sit down and really pay attention? The thing is, through the years, technology changed too. Tech has come a long way in the last 15 years. So what you have available now is very different than when I started. And people being online now, right? We're like almost entirely online, especially now with COVID. So it's a whole different thing. So someone asked what Anthony uses. Someone's asked what I use. So Anthony right now uses HubSpot, and his is like the Mac Daddy of all HubSpots, right? Mine, I use a different software right now. I'm using, it's called Clio Grow. It's for law firms. The thing is, because I'm growing into so many different businesses, that is not what I want to keep using. And we are actively working on the project of converting, which is a huge project. But how I use my CRM, every call, every email, every referral gets logged. Even if they hired me before I know, it gets logged in the CRM. And so we have contact information, any quotes or notes from the conversations go in there. And then if they're not ready to sign up as a client right away, then we add, there's a workflow where I could have the like assign tasks or follow-ups when the time comes. I could schedule emails. I can create intake forms for client intake, and I can, for us, we can submit our retainer agreements to be e-signed because that's the law firm side. So there's a lot of different tools there that we have, and then it's like a pipeline setup. So when I log in, it has different columns, and we move them closer and closer to the goal, right, of being hired. So there, and then once they're hired, then there's like the goal of like, okay, are they completed, and like what's the follow-up? Because you have pre-engagement, you have helping them and servicing them, and then you have post-client engagement. What happens after they've completed the process of buying or selling? They're asking me, which one are you going to use? I am going to use HubSpot. By the end of this year, I will be set up. I'm working on that actively. One thing Anthony has taught me is to get more tech savvy with that stuff. So that's something that I'm trying to implement on our side. Whether I like it or not, damage control is using HubSpot. So I need to get in with the program. And by having my other companies synced, I can kind of consolidate everything into one place and use one thing for everything, right?
She just answered the question that I asked everyone, right, straight up. Melinda wants something that's going to have everything into one. Social media. Okay. Social media is part of that's it. I mean, that's like the wave of the future. So that is what HubSpot allows you to do, is the intake forms from social media, all platforms, by the way.
Right.
Okay. Except Clubhouse at this point. That's new. And she wants to do videos, right? And videos are important, right? Does the CRM have capabilities with video content? I just had a gentleman the other day, yesterday actually, we sent a piece of video out that was showing the breakdown of the costs and everything, and what technology are you using? That's BombBomb or Vidyard. Okay, we'll put that in the notes. But those are the capabilities that you guys got to look at. What do you want? What do you market in? What do you want as an agent that platform is going to represent you best? Very, very important to really sit down and analyze that. And most of you said you want everything to be, custom made already for you. Okay, that's good, but it's also bad because you need to make sure that you're being creative in your own way. What's going to make you different as an agent as opposed to the Remax person down the street? Okay, so stock and having things done are already preset for you is amazing. But some of you, I like the fact that you said, the capability of both. I think, Esther, you said it, growing. I just launched yesterday, all right? I had a issue with text messaging for a whole year, maybe a year and a half. And it was—
as long as I've known you.
Even Tiffany has hit me up. You had it. I called you, I think, Sam. It was all incorrect. And most people would have been, screw this, I'm out of it, done. This is embarrassing, woe is me. Not me, man. I kept going and going and going. We fixed it. It is a blessing. I look back and I'm like, holy shit, a year and a half possibly. And it's so amazing now. Our entire milestone process is like, wow. And those of you that have not worked with us or worked with us in the past, you're going to be blown away with what you see. But see, that takes time.
Yeah,
and you guys just said that.
Time, and you need to be able to commit to it, because if you can't commit to the time, it's not for you. That's just the reality. And you have to, that's why you have to, as I said, you have to understand what season you're in, because otherwise it's like not going to do anything for you. And CRMs are only as good as you use them. Right. So hopefully all of you here, are going to leave here with at least the one thing is, I just got to get one and use it. We're going to, a lot of you get tied up in deciding which one you're going to use. So that's why we did a comparison chart for you guys, and you'll get that after the show. And a lot of them have free trials. So you could play around with it just to sample it. You need to think about what apps you're using so that you can see really using, what do I use in a day, or like what I plan to use, right? So that you can sync those platforms with your CRM. And then, with regards to cost, it really depends on the size of your team, if you're a solo agent, and then if you pay monthly versus yearly. So that'll all be laid out there for you. Nothing good in life is free. So, you're going to have to pay a little bit, but there's very affordable options out there.
Let me elaborate on that. So here's the thing. I couldn't afford HubSpot in the beginning. It's way too rich for my pockets in the beginning. The cool thing about HubSpot, and obviously why they're a massive publicly traded company, is they give you a free service, and it's free. It's literally free. And the contacts they let you upload, but I couldn't pay for the marketing side. The marketing side was too pricey for me at the time. So I couldn't push marketing, but I can organize my contacts, and I can start crushing it and dialing and smiling down and making sure everything's perfect. And then, slowly get myself up to the marketing. So I like that. And I think that's important because let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you go to Follow-Up Boss. Follow-Up Boss says everything's done. But now you want to go, now you've reached that level and you're plateauing in your business. Now you're screwed because you can't retract all that information and possibly put it into something that you want to customize. So
you don't think you could extract the data of the notes?
You can totally do that. But the problem is now you have to build out something that you just lost 2 years that you could have built out on every day, every weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at your long game and your short game, right? And see what you're looking to do. Like HubSpot does allow for text messaging and all that stuff. I know somebody asked that. So yes.
Tiffany asked that. Tiffany
through
asked
the,
that.
through the CRM. And it links to all, he's able to extract a lot of data through that. So there's a lot of power in the data, which is why, and this is not like a commercial for HubSpot. I'm like trying to remind myself why I got to do it, because I think it's very powerful. And even with a team though, it's very difficult to find the time when you're in the day-to-day and, in your own systems that to maintain the current systems, you have to start building out something else. It's a huge project on the side. So you got to find out what you want, and really make it a goal of yours. So it is a goal of mine for this year to start fresh, something new again, and build it out. And this is like 12 years in, I wish, and like when I first started, what did I have? I just had bags of business cards. And at one point I was like, F this, and I just threw them all out. And I wish I hadn't done that now, because I have a different mindset, but this was like 5-6 years ago. I'm like, what am I going to do with these drawers of business cards? Now I would have had my VAs help me input them into the system, right? But
Yeah.
It is what it is. That's life. You live and you learn. So we're trying to give you some tips of things that we have in the meantime. So
Trying to think. There you go, son. All right, so let me answer another question. Tiffany, you asked me a question. What do I use for auto text messaging? That's the beautiful thing about HubSpot, is it allows you to do that. So the auto text that I use is called Sales Message. The CEO I know very well, and the Vice President David, him and I were speaking yesterday. They gave me the capability to build around their program, and it's as an open API. That's if it means I can connect with my CRM to their CRMs. And so basically that's what I use, and that's what's hitting you guys up. Every time we have a DC go live, you'll get a text message, and you can click the link and obviously enter the consultation, or in this case, the Zoom meeting. So that's, to answer your question, that's what I use. But see, that's something that I wanted. Now that's plug and play. That's not something that you need to set up and you need some programmer to come and hack away. It's very, it's very user friendly. Just like these websites are extremely user-friendly. It's drag and drop. It used to be the old school ways that you had to code and all of that. Now it's very user-friendly. So all these CRMs, Follow Up Boss, Commissions Inc., Boomtown is great too. They have preset templates that you can drag and drop and mix and match. To answer the other question, yeah, see, you couldn't change the content that is embedded in there. That's what I'm talking about, is the picture that might be in there is preset. And if you don't like the picture, that's your loss, right? So you really need to look at what you want. And for me, everyone went left, I'm going right. That's just the way I am. And I try to think outside the box, and I felt like HubSpot was the right fit for me. I'm going to be honest with agents. I think Lion Desk is amazing. I think Follow Up Boss is absolutely a great CRM. I would start with that. But if you see yourself really progressing in the business, then you might want to analyze something like a HubSpot. Because if you're going to scale and grow to the place that you want to get, it's going to be difficult to take all of that data out and just start from scratch and just blink of an eye, turn the corner. It's a big Titanic ship, and that thing's not turning fast. So
yeah,
it takes time, guys.
It does the time. So, but I would say if you want to hit the ground running and you have nothing and you don't have the time to build something out and you really just need something to help you get organized, something like Follow Up Boss or Lion Desk is probably the way to go, because it already has stuff for you. It has content for you. If you're the person who gets stuck, like I never send anything because I don't know what to do and I don't know where to send it and I don't know how to send it, I would say those are definitely the platforms to start with in terms of your analysis, because they are more user friendly and they are more plug and play and they are pretty affordable. So, but at the end of the day, you need to really see what you're going to use, because all this is worthless. Yeah. Every CRM is worthless if you're not using it for its intended purpose, which is keeping track of your leads and managing your clients after they're done being serviced, right? So after they close, in your scenario, it's after they close or after they move in, after they sell. So that's it. That's all. So I know people that no matter who they meet, they add them to their CRM, whether they're a lead, a friend, a person, a referral, a random person at the park, right? And that is really powerful because eventually, you know, you list them and you tag them and you identify them correctly in the setup, and then you're able to really farm and like nurture those relationships.
We do have pros and cons with all of these. We have a whole chart. We customized a chart, took the time to really skim through it to see what the pros and cons are. So I've broken it down. Melinda and I took the time to break it down for you guys. And it's badass. So you'll receive that after the show, and that should help you make a better decision, a more logical decision on what you're looking to implement.
And you're able to do a free trial of both of them, right? But I will say, if you are already in Follow Up Boss, I would just stick to Follow Up Boss since you're already in it, and just build it and put your data in and use it. Because you just mentioned up the thread, you're already in it, but you're not really using it. I would say just start using it, right? If nothing else, like we're trying to break it down simple for you guys, right? Because we want you guys to just start using a CRM, whichever one it is. That's the most important thing. So once you decide what you're going to use, whatever that is, the next step is to implement and build it out. So we want to guide you through, we have a little bit of time left. So we want to guide you through the steps in building it out. And I think step number one is going to be organize your data before you input, right? So pull everybody off your phone, extract everyone that's being emailed and all your contacts, and import it into a spreadsheet.
Here's a tip for all of you, all right? Every single person I talk to, this is going to sound nuts, but it's the truth. Every single person I speak to, the minute I'm off the phone, I go to my iPhone, and this was back in the flip phone days, man. All right, this is since I've been with Verizon, which was like 1996. So ever since then, I've been storing contacts. So I would start today, and any single person that you meet as a client or as an agent, first, last name, company, I either put client or realtor, and then I'll just put their email. Just by doing that, you're going to be able to extract all of that information. I had over 10,000 contacts in this little device, and that's what I did to start up my HubSpot. And I had all the real estate agents there that I've spoken to and I've done business with. Also, the past clients that I've done business with that I target marketed as well. Very important to start storing data, guys. It's all about keeping your stuff organized. I told this to Melinda. She's got everything on charts. Everything's perfect. I said, that's awesome. You're way ahead of everybody. This is perfect. Now you've got to condense it even more. I think Marilyn Velez, we did this with you. She had renters. I said, there's too many. It's 300 renters. Who's the really the people that are actually, going to, do business with you? And she condensed it, I think, to like 84 people. So that's what you really need to do, is take a CSV file and make sure your columns have, first, last name, email, phone number, what type of category they were. That's extremely important to have clean data.
And for me, what I really like to make sure I have associated with the contact is where I met them. Because as a business owner that spends a lot of money in marketing with different associations, with different events, different sponsorships, it's like, where did I meet this person? This way, when I'm analyzing my expenditure, right, of marketing dollars, where did the funds come from? Where did the funds go? And did I get a return on my investment? Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't do that, you'll never really be able to properly analyze where you're spending your money. So, we have what I call it is my source. What is the source of this contact? And you'll notice every CRM will call it a little something different. What I call it is the source. And I want to know who's the source. The source of Anthony is Women's Council of Realtors, because that's how I met him at an event there. And thanks to Women's Council of Realtors Broward, we started Damage Control, right? So it's super important to go back and know that, right? And yes, Ciara, it does go back to knowing our numbers, and like, to be able to know your numbers, you need to be able to collect data. The only way to collect data You could do it manually through a spreadsheet or through a program that assists with that, right? So the CRM that I'm currently using for my office, for my clients, not my referral sources or anything like that, it does in fact show me who the top referral sources are, and I can tag them to an individual or an organization. And I could see little charts and I can see who gave me what. But you know what the problem is that lately we haven't been using it very good, which means we haven't been putting in all the data. So every once in a while I go in, because my team is the one who takes the call and they're the ones who put the first data in, right? And if they don't put it in properly, then all of a sudden I'm running reports and there's like 50% of my contacts within that month that haven't been tagged to a source, right? To a contact.
Let me elaborate on that, just so they can understand exactly what you mean by that. Here's another true story that happened yesterday. Valerie, she works for me. Valerie had a client that she forgot to trigger what we call lead status. All right. And when you put the drop down on HubSpot and you trigger lead status, there's a series of events that happens afterwards. Picture like dominoes, and you're pushing one domino and you got a whole series of events. So I explained that to her. I said, look, let this system work for you. Okay. I feel like a lot of agents are just like working for the system. You need to create the content, and you need to create the content for multiple weeks, multiple months, whatever the drip campaign is. It's called a sequential email. All right. And you're basically taking that content or text or video or anything, and you're building that out. And the concept for her and the whole point of this story is that if she were to say lead status application needed, okay, the application would go out for the consumer to take his or her own application. If she forgot the next day, because it's just a chaotic day and everything's just going wrong, and totally forgets to call the client, system's going to recognize that, hey, we need you to take an application. Hey, Valerie, wake up. We need you to take an application. Hey, real estate agent, wake up. This application needs to be. So those triggers, our technology is making us so advanced that we're speeding up business, but we also need to organize the business. Yeah. This is the importance of a CRM, to organize your life, man, everything.
It's such a powerful tool. So choose a CRM. Organize your contacts, right? Because Anthony says clean data in, clean data out. Ciara just said in the chat, garbage in, garbage out, same thing, right? It's like a different side of the coin. So you want to make sure everything goes in, and think about how you want to categorize them, right? So if they come, someone asked about like emailing old contacts from a different business. You want to tag them as contacts from that old business. Maybe you want to reintroduce yourself. Like there's that Jay-Z song, allow me to reintroduce myself, like that's exactly like what you should be doing, right? I always like have the hip hop song that I can relate to anything to. But that's something that you guys want to think about, because for us, realtor lists, lender lists, for me, I have business owners, I have past clients, I have business owners, I have families and parents. Like I categorize them in different ways, because even though right now I'm not targeting that audience just yet, or barely, I know one day I'm going to make use of that list.
So you're thinking like I thought. That's good.
So I have right now they're in spreadsheets, because I just didn't want to keep finding new CRMs, and I really wanted to do it right. So I'm like, just start organizing our contacts in spreadsheets. So they literally have tags, and they have what events they came to, and it has how I met the person, and it has those tags, right? I call them tags or sources or whatever. But the point is identifying and putting them in the list, and one person can be more than one list, so that later, if you want to do an email marketing campaign or a text message or a reminder or something to a specific list, you already have them organized. I think that makes sense. So
it makes perfect sense.
So find a way to organize yourselves in a simple way in a spreadsheet with your contact. Export them from wherever you have them, and then put them in there, last name, first name, addresses, emails, etc. I think most CRMs, when for the address line, you need like to put them in street, city, state, zip, all that. Because this way it imports properly. So spending a little time setting up how like the different columns, so that later you have that. Anthony, what about we sent them a spreadsheet?
Dude, whoa.
Is that what you're writing down?
That's way too weird. I was going to suggest I will create a Excel spreadsheet that has property fields. I've done this for Noel. I just sent him. He's probably calling right now. I sent him, hey, here's the people that actually pulled their credit again. They're shopping us. So there's 42 people because we have so much coming in, God bless. But I mean, I set up everything for him. Now he goes and attacks, and I can do that for the agents, and that will give you a reference so that you ladies and gentlemen can use that as a reference. That's very important. That's actually really good value right there. So
yeah. So if you're registered, you'll get that after the show with the show notes and comments and handouts. All right. So clean data in, organized, then you're going to import, right? Once it's all clean and organized, you're going to import it into the system. Once it's imported, that's when you start syncing your apps, right? So be careful because some of these apps can import contacts too.
Yeah,
so you don't want to import it in the messy way of that Gmail account, for example. You want to export it in the spreadsheet, make sure it's organized per the Excel document we're going to be sending you, and then you import it. So decline the auto imports if you can. This way it'll make it better. So think about it: BombBomb, Vidyard, text messaging, MailChimp, your email accounts, all that, it will be synced, right? You're gonna have to put your passwords in, allow the access, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have more features to this account of your CRM, and you're going to be able to likely use it more through the system, right? So if you have a video, if you have the video capabilities, setting these bombs or vidyards, implementing in your CRM, you could start creating template canned videos for certain types of such scenarios. Anthony's key for that, right? If you've ever worked or ever spoken to Anthony, you've probably got a video of something, right? Never mind.
Videos for everything.
There's a video for everything. And sometimes a video can really go a long way, even in explaining the process, right? So we're working on making videos to explain the different stages of the process, because sometimes we write it in an email and people don't read the emails. So at least a video and the text, having a bit of both, will give the option for that.
Yeah, your conversion rate will go higher.
Digested, right? And sometimes people can read it, but like depending on where they're from, like it just goes over their head. But if you have a conversation like we're having now through a video platform, it makes it much easier for people to digest information, especially.
What's funny is that the guy yesterday is like, oh, but I got your email and I'm going to pay blah 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 blah. I go, no. You didn't watch my video. No, I didn't watch the video. Watch the video. It explains everything on what you need to do in order to rescore your credit. Okay, done. So I've directed him. That whole hour conversation that agents have, and it's just back and forth, and the lender's not explaining it, and the agent's not explaining it, and there's mayhem, everyone. One video organizes everything. YouTube videos. How many times you guys are on YouTube to check it out? Oh, let me look on YouTube to see what I have to do. You watch the videos. Same concept.
My husband has taught himself so many things off of YouTube. Exactly. Unbelievable. It's crazy. So you integrate, and then that's when you start creating your content. If you have it, and really guys, it's just either creating it, using what they have, do a bit of both, and actually use the system. Please use the system. Stop stalling. Now I'm going to call all of you out on this thing. If you are not using your CRM, and I'm speaking to myself also, because I have to build a new one out and I've been stalling. Stop stalling, get your shit together.
Stop stalling, Melinda.
and start building, using it, and doing it, right? It's as simple as that. Block up the time and do it, because the longer you wait, the more data you're losing, the more opportunities you're losing, the more leads you're losing, the more relationships you're losing, because you're not doing that well. I can't keep up with this.
Man, you guys gotta understand that all of your past clients, I see some hitters on here, and one in particular I know has a large database of past clients that she's closed. That should be targeted left and right, once a month, once a week, whatever you want to, show them and say hello, holiday, anything that you guys want to, try to talk to your clients about. And maybe a nice humble video would go a long way to engage for someone to purchase something else. So very important to have something like that, guys. Extremely, extremely.
So we have 5 minutes left, open for questions.
Let me see if
After today, you're going to get a few things. You're going to get a comparison chart comparing 6 different CRMs. You're going to get a repeat of the implementation strategy that we just spoke about. You're going to get a spreadsheet to help you make sure you import your data correctly. And you're going to get a link to our 100-day sales challenge. So what is that? The sales challenge, 10 calls a day for 100 days. You will build your pipeline like no other if you just do 10 calls a day for 100 days. Okay. So this is a perfect thing to have set up for your 10 calls a day. Or 100 days is to have your CRM ready, right? Because everybody you're going to call, you're going to make the notes in there. Everybody who's not in there, you're going to add them in there, right? And you're going to keep doing this and keep moving along and making notes and putting reminders of things. This way your calls will not be in vain. You'll be able to follow up. And 10 calls a day for 100 days. Why 100 days, Anthony?
Because that's anything after 90 days, you've already have a habit. It becomes habitual. So 100 days is usually, no one's going to want to stop after that. When they see the results after that 90-day mark, 100 days, they're going to say, man, do I go back to my old ways or do I continue this wave? Watch.
Right. So by doing
everyone sign up, watch. You'll see.
Doing our challenge, we'll give you some scripts for the phone. You'll get some scripts for the voicemail.
Badass scripts, voicemail scripts.
Voicemail scripts. That's cool. That's cool. I'm going to use, Anthony wrote those out. I'm going to use those myself. You're going to get some content within our closed Facebook groups, some trainings within the closed Facebook groups, and we'll have the accountability built in as well in that group. So you'll get access to the content right off the bat. March 1st is when day 1 starts. Not that you can't do your calls before then, but we're just getting the infrastructure set up for you guys. And then every day after that, we will be in the closed Facebook group for that. So you'll get all the information coming to you shortly.
And we have what did we talk about with prizes?
Oh, we're gonna have a prize. We'll let you guys know all about that within the Facebook group. I know a lot of people are super excited about the challenge.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the challenge. We're gonna do the challenge ourselves as well. So just so you guys know, we will be all set up for that. So without further ado, we're gonna wrap this up, ladies and gents. You'll get an email. So someone's asking how they can sign up to the Facebook group. You'll have to first sign up for the challenge. You'll get that information by email. Also, if you follow us on social media, we're going to start blasting it out very soon.
Yeah, just follow us on social media. You're going to see a link, and then you'll also have an email that's going to go out. And then tonight we're announcing it as well at YPN. So that's when it's going to officially launch. So just stay tuned.
Stay tuned because we're just making sure our infrastructure is set up on point, and then you will get that information so that you can join us in the challenge. And then from there, you will have some really awesome content trainings. Anthony will do some phone trainings live on the spot there. We'll do some live Facebook Q&A, and we'll get into the mindset of phones and sales and all that good stuff.
It'll be awesome, man. I can't wait.
So we're super excited. It was, I don't even know how this turned into like we created this idea last week, and thanks to our team, it's about to launch. So we're super excited for it. Stay tuned. And thank you all for being on with us live, or if you're catching us on replay, guys, just start using a CRM, like for crying out loud, that's all I'm going to say. That's how we're going to end the show. Have an awesome day, guys. And let's close some deals.
Take care, man.
Bye.